Hey everyone, welcome. We have a lot of people registered for tonight where I'm going to cover my 2024 goals, my 2024 plans. So I'm going to let those people join. Also, because technology, of course, has problems way too often, let me know that you can hear me. So there's the chat box there. Please type in the chat box. Let us know you're alive. Let me know that, again, you can hear me. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to say, SL, Stan, is that you? I'm gonna guess it's you, but maybe not. Awesome. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Jill, and everybody. And golf. Thank you, guys. Good deal. I'm glad that technology is not crashing on us and causing problems. I'm going to probably give people maybe 60 more seconds to get on, and then we're going to dive right into it because there's a lot to share with you tonight, and I'm going to share it with you fast. And I have some questions that people already sent me that I'm going to answer. And of course, you guys, now that the chat box works and we're good. Patrick says Boz is the man. So Patrick loves you, Boz. Yes.
Patrick.
I'll introduce Sean here in a minute. I was say my financial guru, but I hate the word guru. My financial confidant, buddy, go-to guy, whatever you want to call. I asked him to hang out because it makes it more exciting when there's two of us on here. John, good deal. Welcome, John. Stan says anything but czar. All right, yes, Sean is not my czar, my financial czar. Jim Colgate, good to see you, Jim. It's always awesome when you're on. And Jerry, thank you. Good deal. All right, I'm gonna wait 30 more seconds. Let's see. Well, while I'm waiting 30 seconds, somebody was asking me about earlier today about home defense stuff, and so I'll tell you that real quick while we let the rest of the folks get on. But anyway, they were saying, hey, what do you do to make sure somebody doesn't kick in your door? So, hey, I've got alarm systems, cameras, and all that kind of stuff, but I'm worried about somebody kicking in my front door. There are strike plates, meaning you put a metal plate on your floor, it goes here, and somebody can't kick in the door. I'll show you. I grabbed one because I have a spare one, if you can see that. A company called Nightlock makes them, but there's also generic. If you go onto Amazon and you just do a search for door barricade, you'll see the metal plate that you can put. Again, you put it on your floor and then you just slide this piece over at night. You have to drill into your floor. So to my surprise, honestly, my wife didn't care. She let me drill into all the doors and everything. So we have these at all our doors, and most of them are there all the time because we don't use a lot of our exterior doors. We just use our main door, and then we put it out at night, and in the morning we remove it, piece of cake. So that answers that. Okay, we're going to get started, guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to give you a lot of value. You also know I'm going to pack it in. As I mentioned earlier, for those that just jumped on, I've invited Sean here. Sean is my, I can't say financial czar, financial confidant, financial go-to guy. I asked him to hang out just because, again, you don't want to stare at me the whole time. And he has some valuable insight, which I want to pick his brain on and share some of that too. So we're going to jump right into it. First, I'm going to share my financial goals, my financial plans, my personal goals, personal plans for next year. I don't have to tell you guys that it's not looking pretty, that there are many gurus, experts, whatever you want to call them, that, say the stock market's going to tank next year, that it's going to be a major recession, that the recession we saw this year was just a precursor. It was a baby, and things are going to be much, much worse. Other people are saying, okay, hey, the Feds have got to stop things, meaning they're going to lower interest rates and they're going to start printing money like crazy to avoid the recession. So it's going to collapse our dollar even more. And we're just going to add to this deficit, which of course only causes more problems. So I do not think next year is going to be a pretty year. And I'm going to go into my goals and expand on that. So when I make it, if you see me staring down here at the screen, I've written them out, just the order I want to go in. I make 4 categories of goals every single year. My 4 categories of goals that I make are spiritual, physical, intellectual, and preparedness. So spiritual goals, physical goals, intellectual goals, and preparedness goals. And I sit down, I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I want to be productive. I want to make sure my year is used well. So I'm going to start with spiritual only because that's I want to say fast and easy one. It's obviously the most important one of the most important ones by far, spiritual goal. But for me, I don't have a lot of problems with spiritual stuff. And what I mean by that probably sounds weird, is like I go to church every Sunday. I don't have a problem dragging myself to church. I like to go to church. I don't have a problem, reading my scriptures, kind of that stuff. So my spiritual goals are mainly continue what I'm doing, meaning going to church every single Sunday, reading my scriptures every single night before I go to bed. And I've got a new baby. He's 60 days old now. And man, don't have kids when you're older like I did, because it's rough with lack of sleep. But with the new baby, at a minimum, I say I'm going to read 2 pages of my scriptures every single night. And that's, a spiritual goal for me, just because consistency. Life is a slippery slope. You stop reading your scriptures one night, and then the next night happens, and the next night happens, and the next night. Same thing with going to church. You go to church one week, and then you're like, maybe I shouldn't go next week, and then the next week, and then the next week, and then the next week. And it becomes, again, a slippery slope. So I realize not everybody is religious like I am. But everybody can have certain spiritual goals, meaning I say my prayers every night. I say my prayers every morning. Same thing, continue to do that. So at the very least, if you don't want to go to church, at least pray, that kind of thing. So those are my spiritual goals. And Sean, we didn't really talk about this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. And even though, we know each other and you're my financial guy, I don't know how religious you are, to be honest. So tell me some of your spiritual goals, if you don't mind.
Well, I do have my mother's very religious. We're Christian, obviously. I need to spend more time at church, obviously. That's a big goal of mine in 2024, because I do not spend much time, if any at all, because I'm so busy. So that would please my mother, of course, as well, and a lot of my clients, right? So just to start off as well, guys, I'm Sean from Advantage Gold. I'm the senior vice president. I'm not a tax advisor, and I'm not a financial advisor. I am also one of Jason's gold gurus, if you want to call me that. But yeah, I have a lot of new things and things that I want to do, Jason. Like, one of my main goals in 2024 is creating more awareness for my neighborhood, for people around me, clients, friends, family, and just spread nothing but good love and awareness and share my story more and more. It's been one of my goals.
Tell me and so tell me, I know your story, obviously, but can you give them like the 30-second version of your story, actually how we became friends, because you got into preparedness and the reason why you realized preparedness was so important?
Yeah. So 3.5 years ago, guys, for those of you who don't know, I suffered a horrific ATV accident, and my ATV rolled and caught on fire, unfortunately, and suffered, about 70% burns to the entire body, lost some limbs in the meantime. And as we talked about this on the last webinar 6 months ago, I lost a lot of financial freedom as well. So, yeah, it's been quite a road and quite a journey to get back where I'm at now. And I tell you what, a lot of praying was going on during the hospital. I spent, as you know, Jason, 9 months in the hospital. And it was a tough road, but now we're here, and we're blessed to be here. So couldn't be more thrilled to be with you and all your clients.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. So those are my simple spiritual goals. Whatever religion you are, however religious you are, I think everybody ought to make some type of spiritual goals. So I'm going to jump to next, physical goals. Physical goals for me is working out 5 days a week. I'm one of these guys that I know it's important. I know it's good for you, but I'm not like a fanatic, meaning I know people who love to work out. Like, they live for the gym. They're like, yeah, I want to, go. I mean, like, I'm not a guy like that. I'm a guy like, hey, I feel better. I have more energy. I know it's good for me. So what I have, and it really works well for me, is I've got a little gym space in my garage. And I bought one of those pull-up stands. So, I mean, it wasn't even that expensive, but you buy a pull-up stand, so you can do, it's a freestanding one. So it's in my garage. I can do pull-ups on it. I got some of those dumbbells, but they're the dumbbells. I recently upgraded my dumbbells. I used to have the traditional ones, but I bought the one that's like one dumbbell, and you turn it and you can go from like 11 pounds to 22 pounds to, it's like I don't even think what the name is, but it's a 10-in-1 dumbbell or whatever. Well, I bought them, and I thought I was buying two, and it was expensive. And I got one, and I read the fine print. And I was like, well, crap. I only bought one of them. So I had to buy another one. So I got dumbbells and a bench. So one of my goals for this year is I do a lot of body weight exercises, meaning push-ups, sit-ups, squats. is I want to do more weight training with dumbbells and all that kind of thing. That's one of my physical goals. And then of course pull-ups. Like I hate pull-ups, but I like to do things I hate just because it gives me out of my comfort zone. And I think that's one of my big goals always. Meaning I think so many people these days are so weak. We are so blessed to live in America where, I'm in an air conditioned and heated place. I've got plumbing where people like the slightest discomfort, they can't live. So I always try and discomfort myself. And because I hate doing pull-ups, I work out 5 days a week and do them because it's good for me. And I want to do things I hate because, life should never be super easy and soft. Like this morning, I went walking and it was freezing this morning. So I walk a mile every single morning and it was freezing. And I was thinking, yeah, most people aren't going to do this. Most people are going to whine and be like, no, I can't walk today. It's too cold or this and that. But again, get out of your comfort zone. You should experience discomfort. So that's one of the reasons I walk in the freezing cold in the morning, as I do every morning. And obviously, as it becomes more and more winter, freezing. So that is probably my main physical goals is to do more weight training, use the dumbbells more, and also do more cardio. I'll admit I'm not a great cardio guy. I got to do more cardio next year. What about you, Sean? Any physical goals for you?
Well, yeah, I can tell you my cardio, I get enough cardio during the day because anyone that knows me knows that I pace the entire time while I'm talking on the phone. So I'd say I get my 15,000 steps in every day, no problem, Jason. I did hire a personal trainer who's become also, I call him like a life coach as well, kind of a guru, who's been helping me get back into not only physical shape, but also mental shape as well, which I think is really important.
All right, good. That's awesome. Yeah, personal trainer. I could probably use that to. Well, then again, I do it. I work out. I'm disciplined enough, but hey, I'm sure they could share some with me. Um, Somebody said I can't even remember where it was. It disappeared from the chat box, but hey, I do shadow boxing. I do, and so yes, that is a great point. I forgot to bring that up. That I do that. I've got one of those punching bags, and I'm hitting it. I'm practicing self-defense moves. I'm practicing all that, and I love heavy bags because they're a great workout. It's great for cardio and everything, and it tires you out. So yes, I'll continue to do that. And I also have in my office, you can't see it, but I have one of the wave bags. There's a company called Century Martial Arts, and it's like a stand-up heavy bag. And I've got that in my office, and I can punch that and kick that and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm all for that type of exercise too, because you're learning self-defense in that way. Same thing for my Bob W behind me, my martial arts training dummy. I'll train on that in the morning and punch it and do all kind of stuff. And again, I'm getting double duty. I'm getting a workout, but I'm also learning something useful. So thank you for bringing that up because I forgot about that. Let's see. And I will get to these questions. I'm watching them. I'll get to them here. I'm just going to real quick, before I get to questions, finish up my last two goals. And I want to dive deeper into some of this stuff. So spiritual, physical, intellectual. And then we'll get to preparedness, which is I say spiritual's the most important or one of the most important. But of course, I love the preparedness because I'm a gear junkie. But intellectual goal. I always believe you should be learning. I always want to learn something different. So for intellectual, I have not been reading as many books as I usually do, just like the new baby. Usually I'm trying to read a book all the time, and I've got like books on my desk. And if you look behind a stack of books, so to read more, just because since the baby was born, I've been so exhausted. I haven't been reading. And that's one of my big goals is to do that. And then also intellectual, continue to learn Spanish, something I should be more motivated to do because my kids are in Spanish dual immersion, but I just cannot motivate myself, meaning it just does not excite me enough. But that's one of the reasons I'm doing it is, again, I want to do things that I'm not always in my comfort zone excited about or whatever. And then I randomly just learn and read more things, meaning the majority of stuff I do is which I love, obviously, meaning I'm reading a gun magazine, a knife magazine, a self-defense book or whatever. But sometimes I'll just read random stuff, like my wife's Better Homes and Gardens magazine. I like never read that, but I saw the other day, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to peel through this and see it. So, getting outside of my normal stuff to learn things. And then reading more, I love the Civil War, like reading Civil War type books. I love early American history, like I always screw it. It was John McCullough, like 1776, and John Adams, and those type of books. I love those books. So read more of those books. That is my personal intellectual goal for next year. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I made a personal goal of mine to read more and learn more about blockchain technology, Jason. And,
Okay.
and That's been, I've been fighting it for so long, but I've been learning now that I want to see what the other side is seeing, what people are learning, what they're hearing. So I think it's important because a lot of my clients, they're buying Bitcoin. I want to know exactly what they're hearing, what they're seeing. So that's become a big goal of mine. Learn more, read more about blockchain technology, find out more, as we obviously been talking about, more about the CBDC, because I think that's a very important topic as well too. So reading more books about digital currency and where that's all going is important. So that's my goal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we will get into that. We're going to get into some of the digital currency later on.
Mhm.
But the fourth and final category of goals, preparedness. So preparedness, of course, I love, like I said earlier, I love gear. I love all that. And a lot of people, I don't know, I've told this story to some people. A lot of people don't know this story. But many years ago, I was involved, had a business partner, turned out to be a complete crook, stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from me, almost personally bankrupted me, like one of the worst experiences of my life kind of thing. And I had to empty my CIA retirement accounts. We had to live off our food storage. Like it was literally that bad. I mean, it was brutal, brutal. So, from the agency, obviously, I was very blessed to learn about the importance of food storage, to learn about the importance of gear, to learn about the importance of redundancy and preparation. But in my personal life, unfortunately, I learned that too. So sometimes people ask me, like, Jason, why do you have so much food storage? Jason, why do you have 2 years of food storage for your family? And I tell them, because many years ago, I have what I call my personal Great Depression. And that was what it is. I was completely broke where we were living off of our food storage, where we were living off of our survival food pouches, from our 5 gallon buckets of grain and all that stuff. So I'm like the tortoise and the hare. I'm the tortoise. Every single year, I add to my food storage no matter what. It doesn't matter what's going on. And because it looks like we're going to be in a worse recession next year, excuse me, I'm continuing to add to it. And also, it is important for me to note that I do dip into my food storage. Like our 5 gallon buckets of wheat and flour and rice and all that, we use that occasionally. My survival food pouches, when I'm lazy and I'm in charge with dinner, I'll pour it in. We'll have soups and stews for dinner, or we'll have, some kind of beef skillet dinner. So I use those pouches, not super often, but often enough where I need to replenish because I've got a certain threshold where I'm never going to go below because I've been there. I know how important it is. So that is, I don't think people take that seriously enough. And I had somebody, I'm going to answer that question right now. Somebody email a question in and he says, what do you say? This is from James. He said, I'm going to read it right here off my screen, guys. He said, with the numerous food plant fires and incidents in the last year, it's a smart bet to buy survival food, have heirloom seeds, and practice food preservation while the opportunity exists. What else would you recommend for food security? Good question, because that's one of my preparedness goals for next year is one, continue to buy food every single month and stock up. And when I say food, the food pouches, just because I like the easiness and all that kind of stuff. So that's absolutely one of my preparedness goals. But another of my big food preparedness goals is to do much better homesteading. And I have a garden, but it's nothing great, nothing wonderful. So I want to have a much, much better garden. And the food storage, the pouches, all that excites me. I like doing that. Gardening is one of those things, kind of like exercising, where I'm not jumping for joy, where I'm not like, yeah, I cannot wait to garden. However, I know it's important. I know it's obviously great to be able to have your own food, to have that fresh food. So one of my big, big goals for next year is to get my homestead even more improved. So plant a much bigger and better garden. I already have several fruit trees planted at my place, but I want to double the amount of fruit trees. And I was telling my wife this, and my wife, it drives her crazy. But like when I say I'm going to do something and I'm like really getting into it, I go gung ho. I'm like a crazy man. And if I say, hey, we have 25 fruit trees, I'm going to add another 25. Like I'm doing it that weekend. I'm going and buying them. I'm planting them. I put the pedal to the metal. So that is one of my big goals is the homesteading, adding more fruit trees, adding a much, much bigger garden. Right now we have chickens. I'm trying to think. I think we have like 11 chickens. We're going to buy more chickens. For Thanksgiving, I told some of you, like I butchered my own turkey. And you got to remember, I was born and raised just outside of Washington, D.C. So I didn't grow up in the country. I didn't grow up in again, I'm a few miles outside of D.C. So I butchered my own turkey. We had it for Thanksgiving just to go through the experience. Now it's a pain in the butt. Like we had tweezers literally tweezing out all the feathers that I couldn't pull out, like pulling out again, it wasn't the world's most enjoyable thing, but I have that knowledge. So we have turkeys, excuse me, we have turkeys, we have chickens, and adding to my homestead. So that is a goal I'd encourage to everyone is obviously buy the food storage, buy the pouches, buy the 5-gallon buckets, do all that kind of stuff. But if you have the space, fruit trees are much better garden. Of course, you can build gardens in very tiny spaces. So I would recommend that stuff. Now, before I go on to my preparedness goals, Sean, anything you've got preparedness wise, anything that sparked your mind as I was saying that?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on. I need to get my act together. By the way, I don't have any chickens. I mean, water. We don't have 5 bucket, full of wheat here. We definitely need to get our act together here in Las Vegas. Water has been something that we've been talking about a lot because, as you know, Jason, I live in the driest city pretty much in the United States. So water's become something that we've been talking about adding more of. I talked to you about this earlier, adding more guns and ammo, which has been something that I really want to do in 2024 as well. Buying more food for storage was a really big goal of mine. But a huge, and I think a goal that we talked about earlier this morning is buying more safes.
Yeah.
And, as your clients obviously have safes as well, but just getting more things stocked up and going to places like Costco or Best Buy, so and so, and buying more shelter has been one of my goals for preparedness. That's been one of my top
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah. I mean, water. So speaking of water, so I recently bought a bug out location and I'm always
Yeah.
buying bug out locations and I'm looking for them. And, nothing fancy because land is cheap where I live and in many places. So it's not like I'm buying, a mansion or whatever, but I bought a bug out location and it was a really nice property. Had a little stream, which is hard to find where I'm at. Like I love the property, so we snatched it up. Well, it had a well on it, but the well was like second thought to me. I didn't, I wasn't buying it for the well. The owner did not take good care of it. It looked like it was totally run down. And so wells in my area are very, very expensive. Like when I was looking at another property, I was like, how much is it going to cost to drill this well? It's like $80,000. So what? He said $80,000. So I didn't drill it because I didn't need it there, right? Well, after I bought the bug out property, I was like, well, I'm going to get this well inspected, even though it looks like it's destroyed. It doesn't, at least it looks like it needs a lot of work. And the guy came back and he says, for about $3,000, we can get this well up and running. It just needs a pump or whatever. I was like, okay, for $3,000, let's do it. So that's actually in the process now. Is at this bug out location, getting that well fixed for $3,000. I'm happy to do that. A lot better than the 80 grand. So I'll have a well not too far from me. In my garage, I have a climate controlled area attached to my garage. I've got hundreds of gallon water stored. So I've got 3 of the 55-gallon drums. I've got 7-gallon aquatainers stored. I have some of the military jerry cans, type jerry cans for water. And then, I've got filters. When I counted up, I can filter 36,000 gallons of water with my filters stored in my house. And each filter, what is it? Filter 2,000 gallons of water. So, you can see how many filters I have. And again, I've been through enough situations in life, agency and post-agency, to know that you want to have filters. I mean, the dirty secret, which nobody will neither confirm nor deny, and I'll confirm nor deny it right here, is that a great way to bring a town, city, place to your knees that you want to take over is poison their water. And not to poison to kill them, but just poison to bring them to your knees to get what you want. Which is why when you hear the boil water alerts or whatever, you want to be able to filter that water. So so one of my other big preparedness things going water is I've got enough water storage, I've got enough water filters, but is getting that well up and running. And they're fixing it now. They had to order some part. And these days, of course, it takes forever to get a part. So it's like, yeah, it'll be 3 weeks before you get that part. So getting my well, excuse me. I'm getting doing that. Brian, just looking over real quick, going back and forth, saying, yeah, so my place is in the country, meaning I don't live in a big city. I will never, ever live in a big city. After I left the CIA, I got out of Northern Virginia and moved out west to our small town and everything. So yeah, you'll never, ever, ever, ever find me in a big city again. Just too dangerous, too dense. Place like New York City, of course, is going to be the last place you want to be. when it hits. And of course, the big threats going into 2024 are, one, the grid going down. That's always a threat, because most people like my food storage, people sometimes ask me, like, why are you so paranoid about the grid going down? Why a blackout? Because, again, without telling you specifics that I'm not allowed to tell, if you knew countries, let's just say Iran, let's hypothetically say them, who are trying to bring down the US power grid, who are probing it to see how we fix it for the big one, you would be terrified. You wouldn't sleep at night. So that's why I've got my gasoline generator, why I have my propane generator, why I have my solar generator, and lots of propane, because propane you can store indefinitely. It doesn't matter how cold it is, how hot it is. So I have a ton of propane stored, because I know, I've seen firsthand what countries are trying to do to the grid and how they're getting closer and closer to send us to the dark ages. So, so regarding that, as in the blackout stuff, is I want to get another solar generator. That's just on my list to do kind of thing, even though I've got a great one. And propane, I probably have so much propane I don't need to stock up on it anymore. And of course, I use one tank at a time for my grill when we're grilling hamburgers and hot dogs. And when it gets low, I refill it. So I don't let all my tanks run dry, obviously, and have 10 empty propane tanks. As soon as one goes low, I take it over to Home Depot, or it's Cal Ranch where I live. I say Cal Ranch is Walmart for cowboys. But anyways, I go there, I get my propane tank filled up. So have a lot of propane stored, and have your propane stoves, have your propane generators, have your propane heaters and all that, especially now in the winter kind of thing. Like our electricity, this was a couple of weeks ago, our electricity went out for a day and a half, which is a lot for where I live. Usually when the electricity goes out, it goes out for a few hours, but I'm out for a day and a half. And everybody knows how groceries are super expensive these days. And I've got 7 kids. I'll say 9 of my family, but 7 kids. And the baby obviously isn't eating much, but everybody else eating way too much. So we had just gone shopping, got hundreds of dollars of food in our fridge. Electricity goes out. Obviously, I didn't want to lose it. For this one, I took my Honda generator, snaked the cord through the house, and I didn't want to do my propane or my solar propane. No reason. My Honda generator was just the first one I grabbed. And then just ran that round the clock, keeping our refrigerator for the day and a half until the lights came on and everything was fine. I didn't lose hundreds of dollars worth of food, and it was easy. So yes, have your generators, because the crisis is going to happen. But in the meantime, before the big crisis happens, you may have your electricity out for a day and a half, like the town I live in. So Sean, you want to say anything? Because I'm going back and forth here, and you look like you're gonna jump in.
I mean, I'm just listening to your story about how prepared you are. It's just, I really feel like I need to get my act together. I'm just listening.
Well, that's why you're here tonight. So somebody real quick, I don't know, I'm losing my voice tonight. Somebody asked, hey, Jason, do you have one of those huge oval tanks or just the grill type tanks? So right now, I just have a ton of the grill type tanks. I do want to get one of those massive propane tanks installed in my house. Honestly, no reason I haven't done it. And I like that. That should be on my list, because I have so many propane tanks, to tell you the truth, where I'm like, I don't need it. But yes, I'm going to write down oval propane tank, because that would be a good goal for me to have in 2024. There was another one I was going to see now. Shoot, now lock it. Where did it? Just Patrick said that's what the Texans had a lot of food spoil back in February when our power went grid. Yeah, I mean, I love the state of Texas. I have a ton of friends in Texas. And after, what was it, 2 years ago, you guys had that big ice freeze or whatever. I had so many friends email me like, thank you, Jason, for talking me into getting generators. Thank you for talking me to get a propane heaters. I mean, I say do the simple things too. My wife goes to our local thrift store, and she bought like a lifetime supply of blankets. We buy sleeping bags. So we've got all kinds of stuff to keep us warm, because where I live, it gets freezing 6,000 feet and everything. So yeah, have simple things like blankets and all this and that. And of course, put them in your car. I mean, I've got my vehicle survival kit where I've got my blankets, where I've got my tomahawk, where I've got my shovels, my small shovels to dig us out of snow. So yes, great questions. Peter says, what about getting an underground propane tank? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea, again, because propane stores indefinitely. And yeah, you don't have to worry about it going bad like gasoline or anything. Somebody said, what are the best generators for propane, gas, and solar? So yeah, I can tell you some of the stuff I use. So let's see, propane, gas, and solar. For gas, Honda. Get a Honda generator. They're more expensive, but get a Honda gas generator. They work great. For solar, for Patriots, I know makes great solar generators. I know Jackery is another company that makes great solar generators. So you can check them out. For propane, I got to think now because I bought it so long ago. I have a Buffalo Sportsman propane generator that works great, serves me well. That's a big one. So yeah, Buffalo Sportsman Champion generator, something like that. If you Google what I just said, you'll find it. So those are propane generators that work for me. Let me see what else is. Yeah, and Generac. So yeah, I don't have a full home generator. No reason why, to be honest. But I have a lot of friends. Generac full house generators are great. A buddy of mine who lives in Puerto Rico, married a Puerto Rican woman, lives there. Puerto Rico, it's like the redheaded stepchild of the United States. It gets no respect. Infrastructure is not taken care of. It doesn't, nobody, again, they don't get well taken care of. But he had his electricity go out for 12 days in Puerto Rico. And it was a year or two ago after one of the hurricanes. And he had his Generac generator, runs on diesel and everything. And he was like, yeah, I didn't care for 12 days, but all these other, people who couldn't afford the $10,000 or $20,000 house generator like I have, it really sucked for them, especially when it was hot. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm going hoarse. But yeah. I mean, so yeah, get a whole house generator if you want. I have a lot of clients when I do home security audits and I go to these clients and a lot of them are like, tell me the whole house generator. I'm like, get a Generac, just call it, do it, get it installed. And you don't have to worry about having all these other generators if you don't want to, even though I still recommend them because it's portable. You may want to carry it with you somewhere. And my wife's version of camping these days involves a generator. So it's not my version of camping, sleeping with nothing under the stars. We have a very different version of camping. She has the nice air mattresses and all that kind of stuff. Other preparedness things. I'm going to go back and forth again, talking about preparedness and looking over here and all that. One of my big preparedness things, and that I'm huge on, is precious metals. So like gold and silver, and stocking up on more platinum. I will admit, platinum is not something that I've done a good job of stocking up on. And incidentally enough, a buddy of mine, a former CIA buddy, I was talking to him yesterday, and he said, hey, Jason, I just bought a bunch of gold from a guy I know who's in dire financial straits. And, my CIA buddies, he's always stuck on gold too. And I told this guy, like, don't sell your gold. He was like, I have to, I need money. I really need to do it. So my buddy was like, hey, I got all this gold at a good deal because this guy needed to sell it, kind of thing. I will say, unless you're in dire financial straits, which, hey, I've been there, I've had things happen. I never sell my guns. Because anybody I've ever met is like, who I sold a gun, they're like, oh, I wish I never would have sold that SKS back in the day. Or, I wish I would have never sold that AK or whatever it was. I wish I would have never sold my Glock. So I never sell my guns. And I never sell my precious metals. I never sell my gold, never sell my silver. I never sell my platinum. These are, because a lot of people seem to be emailing me a lot about platinum. And I actually got these from you, Sean. So I can explain it, but you can probably explain it better. So tell me, or tell them what we're looking at for these coins here.
So
do you need me to tell me what coin I'm holding up so you can? Okay, all right.
Those are 1/3 ounce Australian platinum humpback whales that have a fineness and a purity, Jason, of 0.9995, which means basically that they don't mint any higher quality platinum than that coin that you're holding up. Okay. Great fractional coin to own. It's great for direct delivery. It's also IRA approved as well. So it's just a wonderful coin. I've owned it since they came out with it. They started minting that coin actually in about 2017. That's when they first started.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't own enough platinum. I'm a gold and silver guy. That is one of my goals, is stuck more on that. And I'm going to read a question that somebody emailed in.
Okay.
Just because I promised this guy I would answer it. He said, hey, Jason, I'm a perpetual traveler. I've retired. I live in a few countries. I've got stuff stored in safe deposit boxes. And he says, I have a healthy variety. I'm just reading straight from his email. I have a healthy variety of gold and platinum coins everywhere. And he says, the dilemma is that I don't have enough food nor weapon stash. How should I do it? So here's what I would do. Even overseas, there's storage units. So I'm a huge fan of the storage units. So I have storage units here in the United States, obviously, because I always tell people, what if your house burned down? I have two buddies, one in Arizona and one in Alabama. House burned to the ground, and they lost virtually everything besides that was in their gun safe, which thankfully withstood the fire. But what if your house burns down? So I have storage units. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but they're closet size, meaning they're not like massive storage units that cost $100 a month. I'm trying to think. The storage unit bill I just paid was 59. Yeah, 59 bucks a month was one of my storage units. And in there, I've got guns and ammo and food storage and some gold and silver. And the gold and silver, when I'm putting in a storage unit, I put it in a fireproof safe. So in my house, I have a gigantic gun safe, and I've got my gold and silver and guns and emergency cash. You got to have emergency cash, obviously. That's in my gigantic gun safe. But in my storage unit, I bought one of those like Sentry safes. Sentry safes is it's a popular, well-known company, but a small safe, and I've got one here in my office too that I use for storage. It's a small safe. They're fireproof. Buy them on Amazon or wherever. And for your storage unit, put your gold, silver, whatever cash, because again, you got to have cash. Put that in the small safe and put that in storage unit. So that's what I recommend to this guy in other countries. In other countries, rent a storage unit, put your stuff in there. That way it's accessible. And trying to think again, without saying anything I'm not allowed to say, it works. Ask me how I know, meaning you can do this in other countries. It's not a, let me see. Mike says, I'm going to try and go back and forth. Mike says, what is the prevalence of fake gold coins? I'm going to throw that to you, Sean. Do you know what is the prevalence of fake gold coins?
Well, first of all, we don't mess with fake gold coins. That's not something I even know the terminology for. So
Right.
I've never sold a fake coin.
But I mean, do you know how many are out there? Do you know do you know how much of a problem it is?
You know what? It's something we don't even hear about in my industry, guys, because when you're at this level where we're at now with the types of people that we deal with, no one's selling fake coins out there in my industry. Excuse me, in my industry, yes, but in my business, no. That's never been prevalent. Nothing I've never had to deal with. So it's
right.
it's,
When I think of fake gold coins, what comes to my mind is if you're not going to a legitimate place to buy gold, meaning if I go to the street corner and it's some shady shop and some guy's like, yeah, buy some gold coins from me, and he looks like he just got out of prison kind of thing, that's where that fake gold coins come from.
yeah.
So yeah, I've never run into it. I've never had an issue with it. Somebody asked over here, is having $100 bills too big of a denomination for emergency cash? I do have some $100 bills, and the reason I have that is for bribing purposes, because I've had to bribe people overseas. So over $100 bill, you shove in their face anywhere in the world, even in the United States, but especially overseas, that's a lot of money. You'll get people doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I have some $100 bills. However, the majority of my money is in $20 bills. So my emergency cash at home, which is in my fireproof safe at home, and I also have some emergency cash here in my my office, that is mostly $20 bills. And that's just because, I don't want to have everything in $100 bills. I want smaller denominations. But yes, absolutely have that emergency cash. Let's see. Thorpe said, I would be interested in platinum coins. Sean, I mean, we'll give out Sean's information at the end because he's where I got my platinum coins from. But again, I'll show you this. They come in this plastic sheeting here. I only have two of them. And actually, I'm glad, what is it? Sheila, I'm glad you brought that up because every time I do a workshop, I promise to give something away. And I sent out an email. I know I sent out a lot of emails because if I don't remind people, I get nasty emails the next day where like, why didn't you remind us? I'm like, I reminded you. So now I send out 1,000 emails to remind people. But in the email, I said, I'm going to give something away. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll think of it by the night. So here's what I decided to do because I thought about this before I get on. I wrote it down too, what they're worth about right now. Each platinum coin is worth around $450, give or take, because obviously the market fluctuates. So at the very, very end, I will give you one of my platinum coins. And I will, obviously, you'll have to email me your address or whatever, but I'll personally mail it and everything. And so, yeah, stick to the end, but also you're welcome because platinum coins are awesome. And then I'm going to have to end up getting more platinum coins from from Sean. Anyways,
Oh,
let me keep scrolling through here. Let's see, going through. Sorry, there's so many here that I want to. Yeah, Kenneth says only buy coins from a reputable dealer. Don't buy from flakes, that kind of stuff. So people are saying here, is Money Metals a good place to buy precious metals? Kevin asked that. Kevin, I have no idea who they are. To be honest, like Sean here, as I joke, he's my financial guru, buddy, or whatever friend. He's who I buy my precious metals from. So I am OCD, obviously, about not getting ripped off. And I told you that horrible story with the next business partner where I did my due diligence, but there were things that it's a long story. Anyways, overseas issues kind of thing. But anyway, I digress. So long story short is I did a thorough investigation of like all these gold companies. I went nutso. I met with owners. I talked to them. So the company who Sean works for, I met with the owner. I spent time with him. I vetted him obscenely thoroughly because of my past and past mistakes. So yeah, I buy my precious metals through Sean. Is there a link can somebody drop if we want to go buy precious metals through Sean? I know there's Matthew or whatever, drop a link in there. I know there's a website we created because I told Sean if I'm going to have you on, I'll be happy to throw out a website kind of thing. So Matthew, if you can throw out a link or a phone number or something, all right, there he goes. Goldprotects.com. I got to like dive in there. So yes, you can these are who I trust. And I have spent, you wouldn't believe how much time I've spent investigating now and researching these guys because of, like I said, things that happened in the past with other companies, with other shady dealers. So one thing I didn't want to ask you, Sean, as I'm sitting here staring and all that kind of stuff too, is probably one of the questions I get most these days, and it annoys me only because it annoys me because it's like one of these things where I swear I've told people a million times is here's what I do. Here's what I do. And I'm still keeping my preparedness goals for 2024 is I believe in buying physical hold in your hand gold, physical hold in your hand precious metals. This is my platinum. These are just some of my 1/4 ounce gold coins in the sheet. So here's how I do it, guys. First, it's got to be physical gold, physical silver, physical platinum. This is my 3/4 ounce silver coin. I'm not, getting paper stuff, paper assets and all that. So I have a 2-tiered system for my financial preparedness when it comes to precious metals. Tier 1 is I buy some of the stuff and I put it in my safe. I put it at home. This is stuff that's in my safe. This is the stuff in my safe, right? That way, if I need it immediately, like that guy I told you who was selling precious metals to my CIA buddy, he's in a dire financial crisis. I can pull this out and, get $20,000 quickly if I needed to. So that's tier 1 is having stuff at home. Tier 2 is the IRA. And so people are always like, can you buy gold and silver in the IRA? I say, listen, Sean's the expert, not me. But if you're going to do it, buy physical precious metals. Like don't buy. So don't bore people with it, Sean, but can you give us the 30-second version of how do I buy precious metals in my IRA? Again, only physical precious metals.
Yeah. So to answer your question, if someone has, Jason, like a like a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, a 401k, a 403b, or as most of your clients actually have, are thrift savings plans, you can do what's called a rollover, where you move out of those financial custodianships like paper assets, such as we talked about, and move into what's called a self-directed IRA, which allows you to buy not only what you're doing in your current situation, which is paper, right? Stocks, bonds, CDs, mutual funds, even cash, annuities as well. And then what we allow you to do is buy all those assets in addition to physical gold, physical silver, and physical platinum that is shipped to an IRS approved facility on their behalf. So that's the tier 2 example in a small little synopsis for you. Tier 1, if you don't mind bringing that up as well, that's an important part, but we can talk about that whenever you're ready. But that's an important part as well, Jason, is tier 1. as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll jump in because I'm trying to get questions. So somebody says, what's your opinion of 1/10 ounce gold coins? I mean, I like them. I like because they're smaller denominations. I mean, the reason that I have these 1/4 ounce gold coins is because if I have to bribe somebody, I mean, the reason I love gold and silver is it's a universal language. So if I have to take this out and say, hey, this is gold right now, this is worth, and I didn't look it up today, but let's just say $750, right? This is
Right.
worth $750 kind of thing. It's better than me having to give away a $2,000 or $2,200 1 ounce gold coin. So I do love the smaller denominations. And when I'm traveling overseas, I will take one of these coins off. You can see one already fallen off, but from another sheet, and I'll put it in my belt, my escape and evasion belt. So I'll have cash, I'll have gold coins, I'll have like all kind of denominations. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to get 1/10 ounce gold. Natalie had a good question here. She said, Jason, what's your best advice for growing your money while investing in a bunch of stuff that you aren't selling or using? So you said you never sell your metals or guns. You stock on water on food storage. What's your best advice for being able to really adequately stock up on metal, guns, ammo, while being able to grow your money to support yourself and continue to stock up? Great question. The answer I'm going to give you, Natalie, is not a sexy answer at all. It's I live well below my means. So I live in a very modest house. Like it's just, I mean, not that it's a dumb, because I don't want to make it sound like a dumb, but I have a lot of friends, a lot of people, and they live in these, buying new cars, buying super big houses. I live in a very modest house for a 9-person family. Most of my cars are old beat up pickup trucks, like a 2002 Dodge Ram or a 1999 Ford truck, or I'm trying to think what I have, a 2009 GMC Yukon. That's what I drive. Like the nicest truck I have is a 2009 vehicle. So I don't spend a lot of money. I mean, of course, it goes to my spending on my kids, but I don't have a fancy lifestyle. So when and again, I don't buy it at once. Meaning when I say my preparedness goals for 2024, I'm the tortoise and the hare. I am the tortoise buying a little bit each time, just constantly stocking up with the money I save. So we're not going to take some fancy vacation, stay at the Four Seasons, and I say, okay, we have an extra $2,000 this month. Because I didn't do that, I'm going to go buy $2,000 worth of gold, or I'm going to buy $2,000 worth of guns, or I'm going to buy $2,000 worth of food or whatever. So that's really how I live it. Is I just live well below my means, and I know because of my CI experience and the redundancy, just how much the peace of mind it gives me. To be honest, that's why I do it. Is I knew too many people who struggle financially brutally, and when I talk to them and look at them, it's like, well, no wonder you you own 10 cars and you have $50,000 worth of car payments. Like, no wonder you're broke. You can't do that, buddy. It's not like you're a billionaire. So that's what I do. Not a sexy, not an exciting answer, but that's the truth.
Sorry, Jason. One of the
yeah,
questions last I was reading the chats was if you have a Roth IRA, can you convert that as well? Yes, you certainly can. You can certainly convert a Roth IRA into what's called a Roth self-directed IRA as well. So just to answer that question, does qualify.
So I want to answer another question, and there's a reason I'm laughing. I'll tell you. So Ray says, once you acquire any of these precious metals, so if you buy precious metals, how difficult are they to sell? So it's easy. I did it just because when I was first working with Sean and getting to know him, I wanted to make sure, again, that I tested everybody. They were legit. They were easy. So I sold it, but that was precious metals I bought planning to sell. And so what they did is they sent me what was it, FedEx or UPS? Why am I drawing a blank here?
Return label.
Label, thank you. Yeah, they sent me a FedEx UPS label, and I slapped that on a box. I mailed back my coins, and then they put money in my account. So it was super easy. Now, the reason I was laughing is I was telling Sean right before we got on this call, like, unless it's an emergency, I'm never selling my stuff besides testing you guys. And tell them what you told me when I said that. The mistake you just made selling some gold.
Right. So during the third quarter in September, I wanted to buy an investment property, like I was telling you, Jason, here in Las Vegas. And at the time, cash was I needed the cash. So unfortunately, I had to sell my precious metals back. And if you look back at where gold and silver were in comparison to September, in comparison to now, probably kicking myself for doing it. But like I told you earlier, I wish I would have had extra cash sitting around to be able to do that. But because I had to sell my metals back, it really hurt. So still
Well, don't
bothers
sell
me.
your.
Still bothers me to this day, by the way.
Somebody right below that said IRA is not actual gold medal coins or bars. It is a paper asset. You can buy. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Is like, if you're going to buy through your IRA, like buy physical gold and silver. You can do that legally. So that's what I recommend. And it's Sean and I visited the depository. There are depositories all over the country where they hold your physical precious metals, your gold and silver. And they're like Fort Knox. They're awesome. Their security great. He and I went to one in Vegas. Sean lives in Vegas. I was out there. Was it SHOT Show, the gun trade show, I think, when we went. But anyway, so I visited one of these places. They hold your precious metals there. And it's what you want is physical. So yeah, I would not, if you're going to do your IRA, I would not buy paper assets and all that kind of stuff. Another question that was a good one. Somebody said, and this was one that was emailed to me earlier that I promised I would answer. He said, in addition to precious metals, what items would you recommend for a barter economy besides the usual liquor, ammo, food, etc.? Okay. So for bartering, of course, you got to have your precious metals, but I would not recommend liquor. I would not recommend ammo or guns. You do not want to barter those stuff because the people who are so desperate for alcohol, you don't want to give them that because then they're going to think, what else do you have? They're going to come after you. You obviously don't want to barter ammo and guns because what if that ammo and what if those guns are used against you? So I do not personally ever believe in stocking up on cigarettes and booze and bartering my ammo and guns and all that kind of stuff because the person coming for that stuff who is so desperate for a cigarette or whatever, they may be so desperate to think, what else does Jason have in there? So for a barter economy, I stock up on so much stuff and I've got my food that sure I could barter. I got my precious metals. I would say another thing that is very often overlooked is tools. Have some tools. So I wrote in the latest newsletter, which should be dropping, it'll drop in like next week. We just had to get it printing. Like I bought a $65 shovel. And most expensive shovel I've ever bought. My kids have been breaking so many of my tools. Like I'm buying quality tools these days. I'm buying right. I'm buying once. And so that is another preparedness thing I'm doing for 2024 is just continuing to buy quality hand tools. So I'm not talking about the, your battery operated, screwdrivers or whatever, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about good old hand tools, but quality hand tools. So I think those are going to become very important in bartering. So that is one of the things I would have is just very quality hand tools and buy two. So buy two shovels, buy two rakes, buy two hoes, buy two hammers, that type of stuff. Because when the grid goes down, that's going to be valuable stuff. So great question for that. Somebody says, Jody says, how do you, where is it? Now I lost it. Shoot. Crap. I can't find it now. I'm scrolling too fast and they're bumping up too fast. So Sean, can you trade gold, silver, jewelry for gold coins? I mean, maybe through a pawn shop. I don't know, Sean,
not through me.
Right.
Yeah. We only deal with, Jason, as you know, we only deal with the investment grade metals, right? We deal with investors, not collectors. So for anyone that's looking for jewelry or looking to melt down gold or melt down silver, platinum, we're certainly not your guy for that. Yeah. If you're looking to acquire physical precious metals, such as gold, silver, platinum, palladium, that's my niche. That's what we do here. And then we'll drop my phone number and email as well.
Yeah. Drop Sean's information. There's been so many messages. But so somebody asked, someone else holds your gold. For my gold, that is my tier one, meaning at my house, in my gun safe, for bartering, for emergencies, obviously I'm holding it. Tier two, IRA gold, physical gold still and physical silver, you legally can't hold your own IRA gold. So that's where I go to Sean, and Sean takes care of all that because I hate dealing with that bureaucracy, and it's stored in the deposit. So it's easy to do, and that's why I like Sean too. I don't want to hassle. I don't want to make it hard. So somebody asked me, let me go to another one. Somebody says, hey, and they didn't know your name was Sean, but hey, if I call your precious metals guy, what does the conversation look like? So that's a generic question. Without going into like a long thing, because I told him I'd answer this question. Somebody calls you, what does the conversation look like? I mean, I imagine you're saying, hey, you want it at home or do you want it for your IRA?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, everybody's different, right? I mean, different people have specific needs. So I would tell that person, that individual, to give us a call, give me a call, and I can kind of go over what their needs are specifically, because not everybody, right, can own precious metals, guys, right? It's just how it works. So each person, each case is different. And that's how I approach it on the phone call is I want to be able to cater to their specific needs more than anything. That I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind.
So two quick questions I'm going to answer. And we're going to go probably another 5 minutes, guys, because I've got to run. I know Sean's going to run. But somebody asked, how do I win the platinum coin? Well, in about 5 minutes, give or take, I'm going to give away the platinum coin. So just stay on the call because I'll do that at the end. And then the other question is, do you suggest the gold backed currency? So the gold backs are like paper dollars with a gold layering, for lack of a better word. Somebody mailed them to me. I don't know, can't remember who mailed them. I don't like those because people don't know if they're real and they're not universal. Meaning, if I'm overseas and I get in a jam and I hand somebody a gold coin, they understand that's a gold coin. If I'm here in the US and I need to, let's say I needed to go to a pawn shop and get rid of my gold coin quickly, they understand that. Not everybody understands the gold back. It's not a universal language enough. So that's why besides the one that somebody sent me free, I don't buy them. I don't invest in them. I am sticking to the gold coins, the silver coins, the platinum coins. Same thing why I don't own gold bars. Gold bars I mean, everybody knows what a gold bar is, but still it's not as transactable. And I want something that's transactable where I've got to bribe a guy and I hand him my silver coin and say, hey, I'll give you the silver coin. It's worth whatever it's worth, $20. You let me out your back door. Okay, take it. He's going to take it in his hand. Where gold bars, gold bars, they're heavier, even though they can make small ones. It's not as transactable. It's not as portable. I can't stick a gold bar in my gun belt like I do my $750 1 ounce or 1/4 ounce gold coins. So when it comes to, and this is more of a preparedness thing, when it comes to your gold and silver, you want transactability, you want portability for your tier 1 at home. So how easy it is for me to barter with and how easy is it for me to carry? Like I have a huge, see if you can see it. These are just some of my gold coins. They're in a Walmart bag. And it's like, you can see how it's filled up. So this is, I don't know how much this is, $30,000. Yeah, I need a better bag, but I took them out of something when I was showing somebody them. So yeah, this is like $30,000 worth of gold here, give or take. And I throw it in a backpack. But right now I can leave my office if I need to leave in an emergency. And I've got $30,000 worth of gold and silver and platinum coins. So goes back to portability, transactability, all that kind of stuff. So great question. Let me see here. Let's see. I'm just trying to see because some of these we answered. Yeah, I mean, somebody says gold and silver are the only precious metals that most merchants will accept if the dollar collapses, kind of thing. That's true, absolutely. And we know it's going to collapse. We know the dollar is becoming more worthless. We know all that kind of stuff, and all that.
Right.
And Sean, jump in here because there's so many, like I'm 99 messages behind and I want to get to as many as me. I mean, I'll say one thing because we've got a few minutes left before I scroll these is call Sean if you have any questions about gold and silver. Honestly, take him up on his knowledge. He's my buddy and he'll take good care of you. And guess what? Even though he's always taking good care of everyone and me, if he doesn't let me know and I'll kill him. It's like that easy. I'll send out a hit squad, but in all seriousness, joking aside, just call him and pick his brain because I get emails every single day and people are like, Jason, what denomination of gold? Should I buy the 1/4 coin? I'd be like, well, you should buy the 1/4, you should buy it, but call Sean. Like I pretty much, when I get these emails, I reply, call Sean now and just pick his brain and ask him because he will be able to give you as much knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So do that. Let me see. Ann says, how do I barter silver coins? Well, I mean, what are you trying to get in return? So, you can barter anything. You're trying to get food or you're trying to get booze, cigarettes, alcohol, gasoline. Like I said, my CIA buddy who I talked to earlier this week had a desperate guy selling those gold coins and he just gave him cash for him. So he had his emergency cash at home and I mean, that's barter in a sense. kind of thing. The guy needed cold hard cash. My buddy wanted to buy more gold. So yeah, do it that way. Matthew says, I need something better than a Walmart bag. Well, usually it's in one of my bug out bags in a Walmart bag, but yes, I should have a better bag before I toss it in my bug out bag. Fireproof storage bags. That's a great thing, David. David Webb said, fireproof storage bags. Let me tell you the lowdown on those. Most of them aren't really fireproof, to be honest, meaning they'll only stop it for a very, very short amount of time. If you have a gun safe, right, they'll usually last 90 minutes or whatever they're rated. This is rated for 60 minutes. Those fireproof bags, I mean, you're lucky if they last 10 minutes. So it's better than nothing. So it's a good idea, but don't think, it's going to sit in the fire and last for half an hour like a gun safe or whatever. Those bags quickly go away. Dale says, Sean, do you sell physical gold, silver, and platinum coins to be delivered directly to the buyer? Sean, take it over.
Yes, Dale, that is part of our tier 1 that Jason was mentioning. We'll drop my number. We'll drop my email so Dale can give me a call and I can answer all of his questions for him.
Well, somebody else asked me that too. So, hey, I want to have the precious metals sent to my house. How does that work? Like, take us through the 30 seconds. I mean, I've done it obviously, but that's one of the more frequent questions. So if I call you tonight or somebody calls you tonight and says, hey, Sean, I want to buy gold, silver, and platinum, like Dale said, tell me the process so they know how it goes, the easy way or whatever.
So we all have bank accounts these days, right? So obviously the way to buy physical gold and silver from us is you have to initiate what's called a bank wire. Okay. So for example, tomorrow morning, let's say you were to wire me $10,000, you would contact me. I would give you our bank wire instructions that are specific to our bank here. You send us a bank wire and then tell me exactly what types of gold, silver, platinum coins you're looking to acquire. Obviously, I can help you out as well. And then we literally put the precious metals in a box, just like you got, Jason. We register them, we insure them, and we ship them directly to your home.
I'm going to get the box. Keep talking, Sean. I'm going to get the box just so they can see what it comes in.
I mean, as you know, Jason, it's not just a box. It's a box inside of another box. And you saw the way we securely wrap those things. I think you had to take a machete to open up the box from us.
Well, people always think it's going to be some like mysterious or hard or confusing. It is literally a UPS box. And when you open your UPS box, it is this box, which is next. And then inside this box is like a Tyvek bag, UPS bag or whatever it is. And then inside that are the tubes of precious metals. So it's just, again, it's nothing hard. You guys have shipped me, I've got a lot of metals from you. You shipped me a lot of metals. And because I don't give anybody my home address, like nobody my home address. When I order my precious metals from, it comes to my UPS store. So I've got a UPS box and I've got several mailboxes, et cetera. So that's fine with me. Like some people are like, oh my gosh, I'd only get it delivered to my house. Like I'm comfortable with the UPS store signing. They don't know it's precious metals. There's tracking. I know the guy there who owns it and trust him. So I've had thousands of dollars of precious metals shipped directly to my PO box, UPS store box. And that's how I do it and kind of thing.
And Jason, I always tell people that it looks like a pair of knife sets, basically, right? It looks like kitchen that's coming to your door.
Somebody says, I assume, and I know the answer, but not everybody. I assume that all shipments are insured.
That's correct. All shipments are insured up until you sign for it. That is a great question.
All right. So before we wrap up, I'm going to answer a few more questions. Seriously, please just call Sean because when I'm inundated tomorrow morning with emails, I will literally forward your emails. I would, as we wrap up, highly recommend you make your goals. We went over physical, we went over spiritual, we went over intellectual preparedness. I talked about what I'm doing. I talked about how I'm trying to add to my food storage. I'm trying to be better with water by getting the well pump working. I talked about I'm always going to invest in precious metals, but platinum is going to be one that I'm definitely going to add to in 2024 just because I don't have enough platinum. That's my weakness, if you will. I'm really heavy in gold and silver. So because next year is going to be a train wreck, the war in Israel, the war in Iran, interest rates, the presidential election. I mean, the presidential election is going to cause a lot of problems. We know that. Is invest in precious metals if you're able to. I realize not everybody has the monetary means, but if you can buy more gold and silver, and if you want to do platinum like me, invest in precious metals, Sean gets my highest recommendation, and I'll say Sean should be paying me. He should be like sneaking money, but Sean doesn't pay me or anything. So call Sean, invest in precious metals if you can. He'll take good care of you, and pick his brain. Like, I pick his brain like crazy, and you will learn things. You're like, holy crap, I didn't realize I could do that. So somebody please put, so I don't have to forward it. Please put Sean's information and however they contact him and all that kind of stuff. Cynthia says, is there a special delivery company that is used to deliver precious metals?
We use UPS to deliver it directly to your home. So as special as they are, that's who delivers the package directly to Cynthia's home.
Brian says, and I appreciate this, Brian says, if you can, I urge you to follow the plans Jason lays out. Quite solid. Get your house and land in the country, store up that food and water and everyday items. Get the emergency tech items, gold, silver, platinum, fuel. Pray to get out of the cities as soon as you can. God is actually using Jason. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Brian. Yes, I'm a very religious man. I mean, I know, well, somebody asked me, hey, when do you think the second coming is happening? Right? It looks like it's happening. The war in Israel. Obviously, nobody knows when the second coming is happening. Like, I laugh when there was that cult. I shouldn't say laugh, but that cult who was like, it's happening January 4th, 2012, or whatever it was. They forget that nobody knows when the second coming is happening, because that's the point. If we all knew, we'd all start being good. We'd all start doing the things. So, like, the second coming could be tomorrow. The second coming could be 500 years from now. Obviously, we don't know. But what we do know, as religious people, we've been counseled to prepare. We've been counseled to have food storage, emergency cash, to be prepared, to be resilient. One of the questions that somebody emailed in that said, hey, Jason, I'm going to read it real quick. What are some ideas you can suggest to improve overall family resilience? Show your kids and grandkids this stuff. Like, I show my kids, like, hey, guys, this is our food storage. This is why we do it. These are our precious metals. That's gold and silver and platinum. This is why we do it. This is our water storage. Also, put them to work. I make my kids work hard. They are always out they're in charge of the chickens. They're always out with the chickens, having to feed them, having to water them, having to take care of the chickens, having to help plant the trees and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're mowing the lawns, they're taking the garbage out. Like, I work them to death because it's good for them. So teach them about your preparedness and why you do it. Like, include them in it. Don't just, hey, get out of here. This is my gold stash. You can't see it. So to improve overall family resilience is make them work so they're in uncomfortable situations. Like, when my kids are complaining and they're doing the dishes and they're like, why do I have to do the dishes? Like, what do I get? Are you going to pay me for this? And I said, your payment is you get to sleep in my house tonight. That is your payment. You're welcome. So I would say make them work and teach them why you're doing all this stuff, kind of thing, because the world is not, we know, going back to the second coming before I wrap up here, is we know that it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse before the second coming. We know that. We don't know when it's going to happen, but wars, rumors of wars, all this stuff we're seeing. So that is why I'm so passionate. That's why I am over prepared. That's why I've got the food storage, the water storage, the generators, the tons of propane, the precious metals, why I shout it from the rooftops. So I don't have a lot of somebody who's saying, like, this is your calling. Yeah, I don't have a lot of skills. I'm not an athlete. I can't play sports, but I'm very good at what I do and very good at preparedness and all that. So I just beating the dead horse here. If you have the means, stock up on everything you can. Stock up on your food, stock up on your water, stock up on all the prices and all that stuff. All right. Before I almost went without raffling off my platinum coin. Before I go, I want to give one more shout out to Sean, to call him only because he came here tonight with his time. I asked him to come on because I knew that he would be able to answer questions that I might not be able to answer. So please take advantage of him. Please call him. One more time, guys that are monitoring the chat box, can you drop in the information, the website information, the number, the whatever it is that you want us. There we go. The 888 number, the goldprotects.com. Please call them. They'll take good care of you. If you have any issues at all, let me know about it, because I will call Sean. I will call the owner. I know them. They've taken good care of me. And I always tell them, this is what I seriously tell them this. I said, if I'm going to recommend you guys, like, you got to take excellent care, or else I'm going to call you and I'm going to light a fire under you. And they're great. They've taken awesome care of me. So call Sean, call them. Okay. I'm going to, as I said, give away one of my platinum coins right now. It is worth $450, give or take. I always say, because precious metals. And what I'm going to do is so I can't be accused of being biased, because obviously this is my call, my people that I know, my friends, my family. I'm going to have Sean choose the name, because Sean doesn't know you guys like I know you. So Sean can't be biased. So Sean, what I'd love you to do is, we have a ton of people in the chat box. Scroll to anywhere you want where you can read somebody's name, and I'm going to have you choose the winner of the platinum coin. So I don't, I can basically stay out of it.
There's a lot of pressure on this one here, huh? Okay.
You're about to be somebody's best friend, and everybody else is going to hate
Right.
you. So
I can take that. Let's go with Brenda Pontiff.
how do you spell her last name?
Pontiff. You see that
Okay,
one
exactly like it sounds. All right.
Exactly.
Well, I can't see where you're scrolled. We got like a million. All right.
Well,
Brenda Pontiff, you are the winner of my platinum coin. So congratulations, Brenda. Awesome. Brenda, all right, Brenda, if you do not mind, there is a way in the chat box where you can send a message only to the hosts and panelists. That way, not everybody else has your personal info and your your address or whatever. But Brenda, if you can send a message to hosts and panelists of where you want me to ship your platinum coin. And actually, I'm going to get it in the mail tomorrow, because I'm going out of town doing some firearms training, so I won't be around for several days. And hosts and panelists, if you will make sure to snatch Brenda's information and get it to me, that way we can do it. And also, Brenda, just to be safe, if you send an email to jason@spybriefing.com and say, hey, I won the platinum coin, it's me, Brenda, and everything, just so I have your address in two places, but I will get that off. Congratulations, Brenda. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being on this call. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate you coming here and, investing your time. Thank you, Sean, for being on here and doing me a favor and hopping on. I love sharing this stuff. Without you guys, I would not be so blessed to be able to do what I love. Hopefully you got at least one nugget of information tonight, because hopefully you got a lot more than one nugget, but even if it was just one nugget, whether it was food, precious metals, water, then you got at least one thing out of it. And with all that being said, God bless you. God bless your family. Have a wonderful Christmas. And I see more stuff going through. It's like going through. Will you drop Sean's information in here one last time before we vanish forever? Because I do that selfishly, because if I don't, I get a million emails to jason@spybriefing.com of like, hey, Jason, how do I get a hold of Sean? And it just fills up my inbox. So that's honestly why I'm doing it. So I don't have to forward 5,000 messages to Sean. So there we go. Sean@advantagegold.com, or it's going up again. Write this down. 70. I'm gonna say it out so I don't have to forward emails. 702-329-8754. That is Sean. He'll take good care of you, because if he doesn't, remember, I'm going to kill him. So again, call Sean, 702-329-8754. Buy your precious metals if you can. Physical precious metals. Physical. All right, that's it, guys. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, God bless you. Have a wonderful evening, and I'm out of here.